What if you fought all 9 bosses at the same time in Super Mario 64? Today we're tackling this insane task, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like really bizarre Mario analysis videos just like this one, consider subscribing right now. Most people watching aren't subscribed, and if you lose interest, you can always unsubscribe later. Super Mario 64's bosses are some of the most iconic in the series. Not because they were difficult or super clever, but because they were the first time we could run and dodge in any direction we wanted while we battled. Although, I will say, sticking that Bowser throw is something I've never been good at. I have fond memories of each boss, but I will say that as a kid, I often try to create more difficult situations in video games by luring enemies together to make the fight harder. Now obviously, we can't do that with Super Mario 64 bosses. Not only are they located on separate maps, but the game simply cannot do it. Even if you were to force the game to load all the bosses together, it would basically just brick on the spot. The RAM for the game isn't powerful enough for it. However, with some tinkering in the hands of an expert, Kaze Emanuar was able to pull this off for this video. He was able to basically rewrite how this process worked in Super Mario 64, so we can indeed load in all 9 bosses at once. So a huge thanks to him for this help. With that said, sit back, relax, and watch me suffer greatly at the hands of these brutal bosses. And, as always, enjoy. Videos like this, where you get to watch Mario get beat senseless, require a lot of prep work behind the scenes. So with the generous support of sponsors like Guardian Tales, I can keep the videos coming. This game is a lot of fun, and I seriously mean that. Guardian Tales is an isometric 2D action-adventure game full of humorous dialogue and fun characters. Throughout my time playing, I've stumbled upon a lot of funny references. And honestly, all of it just takes me back to a simpler time in life, focused on the joy of playing games when I was younger. There's tons of weapons and armor, over 50 characters, and a lot of options when it comes to leveling up and upgrading your characters. And although it's a ton of fun as a standalone single-player adventure, there's also multiplayer PvP, raid bosses, expansive dungeons, and even a challenge-focused tower mode. As you explore, you'll eventually be able to make your own customizable floating castle or even start a guild. And, you know, this is a little thing, but I'm hooked on the music. Absolutely love it. It makes exploring the world that much better because they did an amazing job with the soundtrack. So if you want to embark on a really slick handheld adventure, click my link in the description below to download Guardian Tales for free. And a huge thanks to Guardian Tales for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. So, in our arena, we have King Babam, the Womp King, I-Rock, Wiggler, King Boo, the Big Bully, the Chill Bully, Bowser, and the big Mr. I from the top of Big Boo's haunt. Yeah, I hear you. I know he's not very boss-like, but he still has a star within him just like every other boss out there. Chain Chomp doesn't make the cut because he doesn't actually need to be defeated to get a star. But with this, we have our 9 foes thrown into the arena, and now it's time for Mario to get beat senseless. So the arena is basically the circular area above lava with 2 slots cut to the sides. These slots are open so the bullies can be defeated. A ways out over the lava is our bomb that we need to defeat Bowser. Other than that, we have nothing else. Each boss on the stage has strengths and weaknesses, and when coupled with other bosses can be troublesome. For example, King Babam and Bowser basically defend each other. They are almost always together due to the walk speed, and their proximity prevents you from grabbing one or the other. The bullies can gang up on you and hold you in place for a long time. If they get you, every other boss will get close, and it's practically game over. Mr. I can actually snipe you across the stage despite being mostly a weak foe. But you can't clear him out easy because everyone else prevents you from stalling. Bosses can interact with other bosses too. I-Rock has collision that basically affects all the other bosses. He can literally swat a bully boss off the stage, defeating them. Most of these bosses are pretty easy one-on-one, but together their tributes lead to a very, very difficult fight. Now there's basically 2 routes we can take with this fight. There's the completionist route, which involves destroying every single enemy completely, or there is the it's sorta complete but not really route. So the former is obvious, but the latter exists because it's possible for certain bosses to fall off the stage and not recover, specifically I-Rock and Wiggler. For this video, we're focusing on the completionist run, which means we have the added task of making sure neither of these bosses fall off the stage, and that's annoying. If this wasn't the case, I'd change my route entirely at the start, because when all 9 bosses are on you, you quickly realize that certain combinations of bosses are really awful. But I digress. Let's get to this. The start of the fight is an absolute nightmare. I would not want to be Mario. So the easier route would be to potentially eliminate a bully and Boo to help clear the stage, but getting near the edge of the platform is super risky. I-Rock could target us, and one of his 2 hands will get stuck down in the lava, basically soft-locking him as a boss. So let's tackle this by eliminating all failure conditions that don't actually involve Mario dying over and over and over again. We set our sights for Wiggler amongst the cluster of evil baddies to deliver our first blow of the fight. But once you get that first hit in, you gotta scram because everyone wants a piece of Mario. Wiggler is actually a very dangerous foe simply because of how fast Wiggler moves. They can turn really easily as well, so it's the one enemy that is going to stay on your tail once it gets aggressive. And because we have to retreat every time we attack him, it keeps him alive a lot longer than we'd like. And the biggest issue with Wiggler is simply his second hit. It has nothing to do with him becoming Sonic the Hedgehog and running around like a madman, but when he gets on his final hit point, he does a jump into the air before coming down. If you're near an edge, Wiggler will just jump into the lava and prevent you from getting his star. He can walk on the lava, so he just chills below the stage. So we need to damage Wiggler away from the edge so he doesn't ruin our run. If we're lucky, he'll hop up and stay in bounds. We then just have to hunt him down and knock out our first foe of 9. His star returns to the sky as we grasp for life. And now, the real fun begins. So now we have to deal with Iraq, because if we don't, he'll become unbeatable. We need some health first though, so we need to become Neo from the Matrix and hope that we can dodge everything coming our way. Bowser is our greatest threat, since he has a ranged fire attack that basically spells game over. But he's also the only foe to give us coins to heal. We want to be moving at all times so we can't get ganged up on. But we also have to keep in mind that if Iraq targets us near one of the 2 openings, it's game over. Nothing is more frustrating than trying to damage Iraq 6 times while trying to manipulate his hand placement so he doesn't screw over your run. You could run around the arena and hope to get a dive in to hit his eye, only to get screwed over by bad timing. Sometimes his eye closes, and sometimes his hand books a plane ticket to Lava Land. It was honestly making my brain melt. I got stuffed over and over again, but Mario is resilient. Sure, his back is broken, his skull is cracked, but he rises to fight again. Eventually, after running a marathon of laps around this cursed stage, we can break one of his hands. That doesn't mean he can't take a lava bath still, we just have to be patient and endure. And eventually, Iraq's star falls into the lava. We celebrate while burning and move on. Now we can actually try to strategize a bit. The least threatening foe is Mr. I. He can snipe you across the entire stage, but it is rare. And it'd be super difficult to try to knock him out before getting ganged up on. King Bomb is always with Bowser due to the movement speed. You can't go after one without the other getting you. Besides, we need to keep Bowser alive. He's super threatening, but also he's our only chance at healing. So we're going to focus on some of the foes who are camped out on the stage. Specifically King Boo and at least one of the bullies. They add way too much uncertainty to the battlefield when running around, and they will be the easiest to clear off. Bowser's fire typically protects King Womp from your ground pound since you get burned before landing, so we need to reduce some numbers. Thankfully, Boo drops super easy, because he took 2 hits of damage while was flailing around like a madman wrestling Wiggler. So with the power of Mario's rock-hard posterior, King Boo is erased from existence. His star rises to the heavens. Now at this point, Mario is after Bully's blood. So I'm running around in circles, which is pretty much the theme of this video, trying to bait the bully into coming to the edge. But during this process, I actually managed to strike the Womp King twice since Bowser's fire wasn't being as threatening. I then sprint to the edge of the arena after grabbing some coins and ground pound the bully to the great beyond. But Womp King tries to get a cheap shot in, so we make this a double kill. I honestly was super scared the game was going to crash because 2 stars were spawning at once, but I managed to hold it together as Mario increases his body count. So to clarify something, I avoided going for the chill bully because he's actually anchored to a section of the map that he doesn't stray from. Meaning, if I want to defeat him, I will have to push him to the edge. That isn't going to happen when Mario's getting gang beat by a squad of blokes. With the stage clear now, we do have that option however. We aren't going to take it though. We're going to try our best to isolate King Bomb because he's become best friends with Bowser. They're truly a power couple here. Most of the time Bowser will lock onto you with fire, and King Bomb will be walking straight through it. Going for Bowser first is actually way more difficult, because the bomb he needs to hit is super far away. King Bomb would grab us if we tried. So we need to get lucky and orientate Bowser so we can backflip over King Bomb without getting burned. This is super annoying. And then I realized it was much more effective to just grab Bowser quickly and do a small toss just to get some space between the two. By doing this, I could get easy clean hits on King Bomb until he eventually taps out. King Bomb's comment is ironic though, because Mario is ready to shake and bake a reptile. Mario is strolling up like he just won the Cell games, and now it's finally time to part ways with our medic. The only thing we have to watch out for is the occasional snipe from Mr. I. But at this point, we can now manhandle Bowser and force him to accept our explosive gift. That felt so satisfying. We'll leave Bowser's body to rot as we start pushing Chill Bully towards the edge. At this point, it's smooth sailing, and we boil the Ice Boy to load up our 7th star. Mr. I might as well throw in the towel because the 8th star is as good as ours. And all that's left is Bowser's dead body. It's actually really cool to look up at the sky at this point to see all the stars above us. It complements the absolute mind-numbing torture we just went through pretty well. And with Bowser's final dialogue, we've defeated every boss in Super Mario 64 at the same time. Okay, I'm done. I need some rest. And once again, a huge thanks to Guardian Tales for supporting my channel so I can continue to make videos like this. I actually just got done playing Guardian Tales on my other channel, Swanky Zone, so if you want to check it out, you can click the video on screen now. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until my next video, cheers.